Okay, so thank you for joining. Today we are starting a new unit where we are going to cover cybersecurity. So we will have 3 sessions, which will be today till Friday. And on Friday, we will also do our assignment discussion. Is that okay?
You're not going to give me another assignment until I finish this one, right?
No, so the assignment, you can just submit them once you've completed them. Whenever you are ready with the assignment, just send it forward to learnerwork at ukversity.co.uk.
No, you said send it to you first and then learner at UK.
I think they want to do like a plagiarism check to you before you send it to me, yeah. Because if I give you feedback and then you do the submission and the plagiarism is still high, there is no point of me giving you a feedback. So it's best to send this. Yeah. So it's best to send this straight to them, and they would forward.
Right. So, is there a deadline for this assignment?
No. So
I mean, in the assignment it says 2 weeks after I finish the unit.
Yes.
It's only been like a few days.
That would be the ideal deadline, but if you're not able to do it within that time frame, there is no issue. So we will.
Right. If I submit it and you guys give me a feedback, will you tell me exactly like what I need to improve on, or if I pass or failed?
Yes, I'll do both. If I feel like the assignment there's nothing to be improved, then I will consider that one as a final submission. But if I see there is issues, then I'll send it back to you.
Right. Okay. So one final thing. The assignment discussion, do I ask you all the questions about this assignment on Friday, or should I ask you everything today or tomorrow?
For this unit?
What's it? No, not this unit, the assignment, the previous one.
Oh, yeah, we can do at the end of this, at the end of today.
At the end of this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. That's good. Let's go.
Okay, so in this unit, we'll now aim. So the aim of this unit is to enable the student to understand about cybersecurity and the consequences and implications of inadequate cybersecurity. So you will now understand the key terminology and the motivation of good and bad actors. So this will also investigate the advantage and disadvantage of security by design. So what do we mean with this? What we're basically going to do, we're going to introduce the difference between cybersecurity and ethical hacking. So we're going to look into a hacker mindset and why hackers decide to do this. So what are they going to gain by doing these cyber attacks? And that's by defining a hacker mindset and the reason why they're doing this, we will now understand the logic behind cybersecurity and why do we need to protect ourselves from these attackers. Also, we're going to look into the governance. So we'll look into the importance and the regulations that are in place in order for us to protect from cyber attacks. This act, such as GDPR and many other acts. Also, we're going to see the implication. So what are the consequences of them gaining access to our data, what they can do with our data. Also, we're going to introduce the type of attacks that a hacker can now conduct. So depending on the reason why these hackers can now decide to attack you, there are different ways where they can penetrate and gain information. So here we have a list of them, which we will cover in details. And we will now basically look at the advantages and disadvantages of them. So as I said, what is the meaning of cybersecurity? So by cybersecurity is how individuals and organizations reduce the risk of cyber attacks So by cybersecurity core function is to protect the device we all use, such as smartphone, laptops, and PCs, and the service that we access, such as online and at work. So what do we mean by this? Cybersecurity now is going to give us this extra layer, so it now grant us this protection from attackers. So most of these attacks could come maybe from, might be due to conflict of interest. Maybe one nation has some interest by attacking another nation. So what they will do, they will now hire hackers, black hat hackers, in order for them to attack another nation, in order for them to gain information regarding this nation. So why it is important for us to protect, why it is important to have cybersecurity. Cybersecurity gives us this protection. So there are different type of field inside cybersecurity. It's not just cybersecurity itself, but you could be a cybersecurity analyst, or you could work as a security engineer, or you could work into forensic. And all these fields make up cybersecurity, because it is a very, very, very large field in computing. So it is really important to be aware of these risks, and especially we need to be aware of how to protect from these attacks.
Right.
So we do have an example here where information security can include user authentication or cryptography, and network security aim to protect the usability, integrity, and safety of our network. So as I said, when it comes to security, there are many fields. So hackers can penetrate from everywhere. So it is important to be covered in every
Does two-step verification and all, like for email accounts and et cetera, for spam and phishing, right? So if you open, or is it to just prevent hacking in general?
Well, when you say verification, do you mean like 2FA, two-factor authentications?
Yes, two-factor authentication, like fingerprint, message.
Exactly. So these are additional security layers which will prevent you from unauthorized people to access your data. So these are just security measures that are put in place from these company providers in order for you to stay safe as much as possible. So there's a video I want to show you.
Right.
Let's see if I'm able to send the video.
The internet was not designed to be as big as it is today, so that means it's fundamentally insecure. Cybersecurity developed as a defensive solution to protect any interconnected systems from cyber threats and attacks. Networks, devices, applications, and data centers are examples of systems vulnerable to threats. Common types of cyber threats include data breaches, identity theft, malware, ransomware, phishing attacks, and social engineering. Cybersecurity is used as a general umbrella term. As the internet grows, cybersecurity has become more specialized to include application security, network security, cloud security, data loss prevention, identity and access management, mobile security, and endpoint security. An effective cybersecurity approach should be dynamic and adaptive. Any approach should include people, processes, and technology that complement each other. Let's look more closely at the three fundamental parts. People are end users and cybersecurity professionals. End users are those people who regularly use systems or devices. They need to understand security best practices, learn how to back up data, and undergo routine training on emerging cybersecurity threats. Cybersecurity professionals can include a Chief Information Security Officer, security engineers, security architects, and security analysts. Processes help people know how to respond to or prevent a threat. Typically, a process is outlined in a business continuity or disaster recovery framework. The framework should explain how threats are detected, removed, and prevented. The process also helps protect a system by detailing how to strengthen a system with policies all end users should follow, like password strength rules and mandatory system updates. Technology helps processes work together. Security tools are used to carry out cybersecurity defenses. Professionals employ cybersecurity technology like firewalls, anti-malware and antivirus software, DNS filters, and intrusion detection systems so that people can be the most productive and safe on the internet. With the growth of the Internet of Things and the idea of a connected world, organizations need to take precautions with safeguarding personal, intellectual, and sensitive information, staying informed about threat intelligence, and being cautious about internet activity is a good way to start building a cyber defense strategy.
So the guy introduced some of the fields where you can work as a with a
Information system chief officer or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So these are some of the fields in cybersecurity where you can work, and also introduced some of the type of attacks that can be done from a black hat hacker. So I just wanted to ask you, do you know how many type of hackers we can find out there?
Many, many, many. I mean, most of them are in groups, right? And some of them are individuals by themselves.
Yeah.
But that's it basically, because most of them want money. Most of them just threaten to leak information. Most of them want to just threaten, basically. Those are the three that I know most.
Exactly. So another way to differentiate them is through the type of hat that they've been assigned. So when it comes to black hat hacker, these are all those type of hackers that you described. So these are the bad guys. So black hat hackers are the bad guys.
Oh, okay.
Then we have gray hat hackers. So gray hat hackers are those hackers where a company, say for example, I'm a software, I develop softwares, and
Okay.
I have my company, then I want to test my security system. I will now hire this company to do a penetration testing, so into my security system, to understand if there is any leak or anywhere a black hat hacker could can penetrate, can enter into my system and gain information. So gray hat hackers are those people who you pay them and they will now do this pen testing in order for them to understand how vulnerable or how secure your company is. And then
then they take advantage.
No, they don't take advantage. You pay them, so you pay for the service. So they will do, once they've done the pen testing, they will now hand over a report to you and show you where are your vulnerabilities and where are your weaknesses. And once this is done, you can now improve your system in order for you to be more secure. And then we have
So
the
people who do that are penetration testers. Pen test.
Yeah, pen testers, yes.
Pen testers.
These are actually companies where they offer this service. So they offer not just pen testing, but they offer loads of services in order for you to understand how weak or how strong your company is. And then we have white hat hackers, which are the good guys. So these guys are the people that work inside the organization. So for example, the guys say information security or security engineer.
Are gray hat hackers also bad guys or also good guys?
I'll consider them as good guys because they have a agreement with you. So all the information
Oh, okay.
give them. Obviously, there could be some conflict of interest where another company, your competitor, can now contact them and maybe give them more money so they can share the information regarding your company to them. So there could be good guys, there could be bad guys, you don't know. It's always
Right.
depending on conflict of interest. Okay, so we've now introduced cybersecurity. So in the video we mentioned there are different types of security: application security, network security, and so many on. So also, I don't know if you're familiar to the technology that you need to pay, that is used for cybersecurity, for black hat hacking. Are you aware of the technology?
No, but isn't there like, they don't use Linux, right? No, they don't. That's something else entirely.
Yes, they do. They do use Linux. So there are different type of technology, but I feel like nowadays the most common and used is Linux or Kali Linux as well.
Right.
Where by you having access to this operating system, you can now use the terminal. The terminal allows you to run these commands, and by you running these commands, you're now able to conduct, for instance, maybe pen testing or any type of attack. So yeah, when it comes to pen testing or ethical hacking, I would say Kali Linux is the most used technology, but obviously depending on the type of attack, there will be other type of technology used. Okay, so
Okay.
we have understood why it is important for us to prevent from these attacks. Also, we need to know it is important because nowadays there's something like online banking or any type of online store. So these companies, for example, let's take Amazon. Amazon will now have a database with all the details of the customers, like details such as credit card, personal information, where they live, home address, age, or maybe some online store might ask proof of address. So these are very, very important data. So that's why it comes into place GDPR. So GDPR regulation, it is very important because it prevents, it is a law that will now prevent from cyber attacks and cyber threats. Because the moment these data are shared or they've been stolen from a black hat hacker, these data can now be used or to steal money, or I don't know, maybe blackmail or whatever they want to do with this data. So that's why it is really important to know GDPR regulations. So when it comes to that, here we have a couple of lists. So we have a list, so we know the reason why you need GDPR. Also here I've attached a file which shows you more in detail what are these GDPR regulations. So let's have a look at them.
Okay.
So this is an article. Requirements which apply to each member state of European Union. So GDPR is been agreed from the European Union, where this has to will now protect the data, and GDPR will now include requiring the consent of subject and data processing. So whenever you're signing up to Amazon or any new, I don't know, online store or whatever, they will now ask you for consent. So I don't know, whenever you have been filling a form and you went down straight to the bottom, there's like a checkbox, which they tells you, they're asking you permission to handle your data. Have you seen that before?
Like terms and conditions of Google and when
exactly.
creating an email.
Exactly. So that is still falls under the GDPR regulation because you're now sharing your data with them. Yes, so some of them will include anonymizing, collecting data to protect privacy, providing data breach, notification, safely handling transfer of data across borders. So these are some of the common regulation that we will see from our GDPR.
Okay. How is it knowing what the GDPR help? Like, how does it help me in any way? Is it just for reference?
No,
Like,
it will help you legally. So the moment your data has been breached, there is this law in place to help you. So you will now have a compensation.
okay.
You will now have a compensation. So you can now sue whoever stole your data, whoever misused your data. You can now sue them, and you can now have a compensation coming to you.
The GDPR does, okay, so let's say someone hacked me, but
Yes.
they agreed to this GDPR. That means I sue them. Or let's say a company did this to me, I can sue them. Like, can I sue Google?
So the moment Google share your data with unauthorized people, that's when you're entitled to a compensation. And if you're not okay with the compensation, you can now sue them, take them to court, and fight, for your right and see if you can gain.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So the moment you agree, they shouldn't go against. They shouldn't go against the terms and conditions because both parties have an agreement.
Okay.
Okay, so here we can see the UK GDPR have sets out of 7 principles, such as lawfulness, fairness, and transparency, purpose limitation, data minimization, accuracy, storage limitation, integrity and confidentiality, and accountability. Also here we have another act which will now can be used for your sake, such as the Protection from Harassment Act 1997, which will now prohibit the pursuit of course of conduct which amounts in harassment of another. So what do we mean by this? It is a conduct that causes alarm or distress, and the course of conduct must involve such as conduct on at least 2 occasions.
Okay. So harassment is one of them.
Yes. Then we have Communication Act 2003, which
Are these updated, or are these like once they're established, they don't change?
no, they don't revise them. So
They revise them.
I don't think they do. I don't really know. So if you're interested in cybersecurity, I'll tell you to have a look into forensic. So forensic is one of the fields where it is more related to the law side of cybersecurity. So forensic will now look into GDPR, Harassment Act, Communication Act, and so on. So this is one of the fields of cybersecurity.
And IT is so complex. There's jobs for everything. It's
Exactly.
wow.
Yeah. So when it comes to the legal side, we now know that our forensic guy is who will take care of this. Also, now we're going to look into what the elements of cybersecurity and how does
Okay.
it work. So as we mentioned before, and the guy in the video mentioned, there are various fields in cybersecurity, and they can now be broken down into several different sections. And this section can now include, as I mentioned before, application security, information or data security, network security, disaster recovery, operational security, cloud security as well, because we all know now everything is moving into the cloud. So looking into cloud security is a really important thing. So I would suggest to look into this because it's an emerging technology and there'll be loads of opening jobs in cloud security. Then we have critical infrastructure security, physical security, and end user education.
Okay.
So now we're looking into describe how to keep up to date with the new security attacks. So how do we stay up to date with these attacks? What do? We basically look into articles or journals where you can sign up for these articles as well, where they will keep you up to date with the latest trend and how vulnerability systems have been used to protect from cyber attacks. So as you can see, attackers can constantly finding new vulnerabilities and ways to attack a computer system. So it is always important to stay up to date with these new technologies and these new social engineering attacks.
Right.
And there is a list of articles or website which you can have a look if you're interested on. So this will now give you more insights regarding cybersecurity. So now we're going to describe the typical mindsets of an hacker. So I think you already said a couple of them, if I'm not wrong. So you said some of them might do it for money, some of them might
Yes.
do it for fun, or other purposes, conflict of interest. So all we said is all of them, they are correct. So there's always a reason behind an attack. Let's put it this way. There's always a reason behind it. So what we need to understand is why was the purpose, what are they going to gain from this? That's why when it comes to ethical hacking, which is very complex, it is important that you are aware of the risks and you're aware of what you're doing, because black hat hackers will never do this if they're not aware of the consequences of what they're doing. So
Right.
the mindset, it is really important. So there are different ways an hacker can now attack. You can attack through phishing emails, scams, or maybe they can penetrate into your security system and do so on. So, and also maybe they might do it for fun. So now we're looking into the type of attacks. So a malware, which is simply a software, so a malicious software, which is going to now enter into your PC. This malware can enter your PC through different ways. this can come through by you clicking a phishing link. So by you accessing, clicking a wrong email or wrong information, you have now installed a malware into your computer, which is, our hacker is now able to spy on you, and he can now also gain information regarding you. And this is very bad. So there are different type of way for you to protect from this, such as installing maybe some having in place some really firewalls, some really strong firewalls, or maybe having in place some antivirus or any type of anti-threat which is available in the market. So we also have worms, which are spread via software vulnerabilities or phishing attacks. So they are pretty much similar to a malware. But what does a worm do? Depending on the type of worm and the security measure, they can now do various damages. So they can now modify and delete files. They can now inject malicious software onto your computer, replicate themselves over and over to deplete your system resources. They can also steal your data or install a convenient backdoor for hackers, where these hackers can now penetrate. Then we have viruses. So viruses is another category where the main goal of a virus is to deteriorate your system. So by having a virus into your computer or into your system, this will now going to affect all the functionality of your computer, where from your perfectly functioning computer, this will now start gradually slowing down and causing a lot of issues to you. So you now have to come up with a solution to extract these files which are damaging your computer. So boot and bootness. So I'm pretty sure you're aware of a boot. So whenever you're signing up for a new website or whatever, they always ask if you're a human being. So I don't know if you ever.
Oh, yes. Those are called bots. Oh, I wasn't sure.
Yes. So those are bots.
And then they sometimes ask you if, you're right. They ask you if you're a human, then they ask you to solve a puzzle.
Yeah, so they want to see if you're able to identify, because these bots, once they inject into your system, they're able to conduct activities which they're very similar to human behavior. So they are able to download or manipulate all your data. So it is really important that you conduct these checks in order for you to understand if it's a human or it is a machine doing this.
Yes, right.
So botnets also help hackers with all manners of malicious activity, including denial of service attack, or key login, screenshot and webcam access, spreading other type of malware, and sending spam and phishing messages. Also, we have the Trojan horse, which is again a malicious program that will now disguise itself as a legitimate file. And what it does, you can now delete, modify your data, harvest your data, and as part of a bot, spy on your device and gain access to your network as well. So we have mentioned ransomware, which is a type of malware. And there are different ways for you to protect from this type of malware, such as having into place antivirus software. and scams, which I think they are pretty much under the social engineering umbrella. So do you know what is a social engineering attack?
I have no idea. Never
Okay.
heard of it.
So I heard, so there are different ways to explain social engineering. So the most simple way was I heard it through this story, which is true, where software, where an hacker was able to access into someone's database without using any type of viruses. The way they did this is just through studying the individual and guessing the information of the individual. So by them knowing who you are, maybe by them knowing your date of birth, where does your family live, where do you work, where do you school, they can now able to run several attempts in order for them to gain this information. So that's why whenever you try to create a password, they always tell you your password is weak or your password is strong, because this is just a social engineering attack where our hacker knows a lot of information about you. They've been studying you maybe for months. This hacker must been on your back. He's been working under the hood for several months, and they have now got to a point where they're now able to penetrate without them installing any type of software.
That's
So,
horrible.
sorry?
That's horrible. I can't believe there's such a thing.
Yes, it is. It's because social engineering takes time. It's not an attack that is not just a simple malware that you can just drop and hope that your victim will click on the link and they can now access. Social engineering is a well-studied attack. Yes, so we have mentioned spyware. We mentioned spam and phishing. So normally phishing comes through emails or text messaging, and they always ask you to click or sign up to somewhere. So here we have a list of different other type of attacks. So we have spoke about malware, phishing. There is man in the middle. So what does man in the middle do? So basically, say you're trying to log into your mobile banking. Now, man in the middleware, as he says, is simply setting where our hacker now he now impersonate your banking. So you think you're entering your details into your mobile banking, but you're just giving your details to your hacker, so they can now present a very nice image. Say you're using your laptop, you're trying to enter your mobile banking, they will now replicate the page of your mobile banking, of your online banking, while you're typing the details. They're now accessing this detail, and now they can now go into the actual online banking and impersonate and show that they are you. So they're just stealing your information, and once they come to online banking, the online banking will not know that that's you, because they have now stored your information and they're just putting these details into the software, and they can now access your data.
So it's like fraud.
Yes, it's basically fraud. So they're just standing in the middle, waiting for you to give them the details, and they'll now access your online banking. Also, we have distributed denial of service attack. Then we have SQL injection. So by SQL injection, we are simply going to steal details on SQL. So SQL is the programming language used to create a database, where in our database we have tables with columns and rows, where there is loads of fields with your details. So there are all that's where all your bank details, your address and information are stored. These are stored into these databases. So SQL injection is very dangerous. So a company like Amazon, or I don't know, or any other big company, eBay, or maybe Nike, could be subject to a SQL injection because they have massive database with all the details regarding their customers. So I've explained man of middleware.
Okay.
Denial of service attack, which essentially floods a target user with a traffic in an attempt to disrupt and perhaps even bring down the target. So what they do is they just trying to shut down your system in order for you to not have access, temporary access, and they can now attack and leverage and gain as much information as possible. We have DNS tunneling as well. Then we have business email compromise, which is under the phishing umbrella. Then we have password attack, where it could be part of social engineering, where they are trying to guess your password, or maybe they might have specific software to attack you. Let's watch this video.
My reasons for returning to education are to become a part of my community.
I didn't have the opportunity.
Be sure that everyone here has heard something about hackers. Mostly bad. But I want you to forget everything that you thought you knew about them. Forget everything that you heard in the media about them. Because we're going to go on a little journey together. Protecting this country from unwanted foreign influence was an original intent of the framers of the US Constitution. In fact, in 1788, Alexander Hamilton acknowledged that protecting America had this big ocean, and that there was this was a huge element of our security, and that this was of utmost importance. However, at the same time, he acknowledged that one day, with the advancements of technology, distant nations would become next-door neighbors. And in no time or place is this more relevant, is his wisdom more relevant than in the information age of today. And to no population does it impact more than hackers and those impacted by hackers. Now, you may be wondering what hackers have to do with revolutionary thinkers. And the media has overwhelmed us with imagery and stories about cyber breaches and the black hat hackers behind them. And this has caused us to construct mental models filled with heavy elements of criminal symbolism. But I am here to tell you that hackers are much more than hat colors and criminals. Society is incredibly confused by hackers. In fact, most of the imagery that we see of them includes a dark figure shrouded in a hoodie and antisocial, like Mr. Robot. Kind of like this person right here. And to make matters worse, if you were to look up the definition for the word, you would find strong elements of conflict. On the one hand, a hacker is someone who's unskilled and hacks things together. On the other hand, there's someone that leverages their technological prowess for illegal gain, with both definitions rooted in fear. Recently, someone asked me what I did for a living, and I responded by saying, I'm a professor and a consultant and an ethical hacker. This person looked at me with a very confused look and they said, wait a minute, how could you be a professor? What company would pay you to do illegal stuff? And what university in their right mind would allow you to teach students how to do illegal things? This conversation went on for quite some time, and this person just could not fathom that there were good hackers and that they would have anything worth sharing or teaching to others. But my friends, I want to share with you that hackers are much more important than you may have previously thought. There are tons of problems in our world with regard to that require innovation and experimentation. And this is where hackers excel. This is precisely why I research hackers and how they think. Now, that's not the entire story. I wrote my first line of code at 10 years old, and I'd hacked into my first major corporation by my 13th birthday. I had a lot of fun. But I was an inquisitive child. I asked lots of questions. Usually there were questions that the adults were not ready to answer. But
okay, so this video gives us a bit of understanding of the mindset of an hacker and why they want to do this type of attacks. So in his case, he mentioned he was doing it for fun. So he started at a very young age. He got passionate about hacking and gaining knowledge and information, and that's how he got into the field. And he also mentioned that now teaching how to hack. Yeah, so there are various reasons why people decide to do this. So he explained his mindset and the reason why he's doing this. So I will give a call for today because we have come to the end of our hour, and we'll have a more in detail session. So we'll carry on from here tomorrow, and we will have our second tutorial.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, Victor.
Thank you very much, and have a good day.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.